So when it comes to financial literacy, we all know that a lot of people struggle with it, right? Let's be honest. It's not something they teach in school, so it's not something that it's not a habit that you relatively just develop early. Like usually you'll either learn maybe hopefully through your parents, right? They instill those habits in you, or you got to learn it the hard way, right? And that's through putting yourself in a bad financial situation and eventually figuring out how to get out of it, right? And those usually are the ways that people learn. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you two videos where people are making excuses for why people get into credit card debt. Right? So I'm just gonna let them talk, and then I'll share my thoughts afterwards.
Actually, budgeting doesn't always mean that you're going to be spending within your means or that you won't accumulate debt, because you cannot budget your way out of not making enough money. And unfortunately, those of us who have found ourselves in debt, it was simply because we didn't have the money to pay for the things we needed at the time, so we used credit. And I have no shame in that, and I refuse to have shame in that. A lot of us were affected by the pandemic, and not just that. It doesn't even have to be something as major as a car accident or medical emergency or student loan debt. Like, shit happens throughout our lives.
So let me ask you a question. Does this sound like a person that wants to hold it, that is accountable for her actions? Like, we all know that things happen in life, right? Emergencies happen, economic downturns, things happen that are out of your control. However, the one thing you can control is how you react to these things, right? What about preparing for these things, right? Maybe making sure that, all right, things happen, like economic downturns, emergencies happen. How do I prepare myself for when these things do happen, so I'm not finding myself in a negative situation where I'm stressed financially? These are the things that you can control, right? And nobody's gonna knock you for making bad decisions, because like we're human, right? No one's going to make the right decision 100% of the time. But you have to make sure you understand that especially as an adult, things happen that are out of your control, and you need to make sure that you put yourself in a situation financially so that when things happen, when those things that are out of your control happen, you are prepared for that. Okay, so when you make the excuse that things happen in our life and I'm not going to be shamed, it's not about shame. It's about, are you taking responsibility for your actions? Because these are the things that you can control. Like, I will agree with her when it comes to you can't budget your way out of making more money. And the thing about a budget is not going to make you more money. What a budget is just it's a guide to what your finances look like, right? It tells you how much money is coming in, it tells you how much money is coming out, and then based on what you see, you have to make adjustments from there. So if you're someone that's struggling financially, once you create that budget and you see that there are expenses that you don't need anymore, then you remove those expenses, and then that obviously helps out your financial situation. Or maybe when it comes to your expenses, what you need to do is figure out a way to make more money. So a budget, of course, is not going to help you make more money, but it's just there as a guide so you have a clear picture view of where your finances are. Okay, so let's let her continue.
Here for quite a few decades, we're not always going to be able to pay for every last thing out of pocket. Yes, you can budget, you can have your savings, you can invest, you can have your 401k, and hopefully that works out. Like, that's my plan, hoping for the best. But it happens, and I will never forget that. I also go out of my way to try to make more and more and more money as the cost of living increases, because like I said at the beginning, you cannot budget your way out of not making enough money. And I'm adding 1 second here to make this a minute long.
And see, that's the thing. Like, you heard it from here. Like, let me see if I could go back to what she said. It was like, let me see.
And hopefully that works out. Like, that's my plan,
See, you said right there. She said she doesn't really have a plan. She said, like, my plan is just just try my best and then hopefully things work out. That's a person that's not taking action, that's not taking initiative to secure their financial situation, right? You want to make sure that you don't want to just go be like, oh, hopefully things work out. You need to put yourself in a position to plan out and make sure that you plan for worst case scenarios. If there's an emergency, you have an emergency fund where you can dip into that and pay for things. All right. So you need to make sure that you're putting yourself in a situation where you can manage things that are out of your control, because obviously we cannot control the things that's out of our control, but we can't control how we react to it, how we prepare. And clearly this is a person that doesn't want to do that. They're just living life, and it's just like, things happen, so I just go with the flow. And clearly that's not a smart strategy. All right, so we got one more video. Hear what he has to say.
One of my biggest pet peeves with financial planners and advisors, whether or not they're professional or amateur ones here on TikTok or on blogs or whatever, is that they treat credit card debt like a sin, right? Like a personal failing. And they give the same advice, which
I mean, that's not, maybe it's not a sin, but I mean, you are failing when it comes to your finances, right? If you're someone that has debt, clearly you're someone that's not good when it comes to managing your money, and that's okay. Like, we've all been there. That's not something to be shameful about. It's like we've all been there, so we're not going to knock you for that. However, let's normalize it like it's a good thing, right? When it comes to failing, you are failing with your finances.
I can't believe people pay for it, because to me it's like obvious and you can find literally everywhere, which is pay off your credit card balance every month. If you can't, make sure that you stay under 30% of your credit limit. Invest in EFTs and index funds. Make sure that you have an emergency fund of at least $1,000 and ideally 3 months salary. Like, we know this. Everyone knows this. You are not enlightening anybody. Listen, I've had a budget for the last 15 years that I've dutifully followed. I bought like one TV in the last 15 years. I haven't left the country to go on vacation in the last 15 years. I bought one laptop in that time. The biggest personal luxury I've allotted myself are my Sony headphones, which I kind of need for work anyway. But what did I do? Well, I made the mortal sin of deciding to have children, in my 20s. Big mistake. And also, I guess, not being a doctor or a lawyer or some sort of entrepreneurial hustler. Because I can tell you, as someone who is dutifully budgeted, as someone who has a nice stable job, budgets don't make money appear. They don't increase your income. And sometimes you just have to go into credit card debt.
See, I get all that other stuff, right? Like you said, budgets don't make money appear. Like, I think we can all agree with that. But we all understand the purpose of a budget. Like, if you understand the purpose of a budget, then it's not a secret that it doesn't make money appear. However, I'm not going to agree with you that we all have to go into credit card debt, right? Now that's a choice that you make. Right, we all make that choice. You don't have to go into credit card debt. That's a choice that we all made. I've done it myself, $30,000 of credit card debt twice in my life. Those are all choices that I made, and they were bad choices, right? You don't have to go into credit card debt. I know it seems like you have to because it's money it's fake money that's there, but you don't have to. There are other ways. I know a credit card is not an emergency fund. I know people like to use it because it's there and it's like, in their mind is like, I'll just pay it back. But we all understand, some people, especially people that are managing their money properly, we all understand that is not what a credit card is for. Now, obviously, just if there is an emergency and you don't have any cash on you or whatnot, then of course that credit card is there. But the people that should be using credit cards are people that have money to pay for the things that they buy, right? If you don't have $100 in your account, then you shouldn't be having like $1,000 credit card limit on that card. You shouldn't be having that because you don't have enough money. So just get that out. But if you're someone that has money in your bank account, then having a credit card is something that you can say, all right, I can have this credit card because I can pay off the balance every month. Okay, but yeah, getting into credit card debt is a choice. I know it may not seem like it, but it is a choice.
And this idea that it's a choice, and obviously some people they need financial help. They need help planning, help budgeting. I'm not saying that's not the case. But assuming that everyone who has credit card debt is like a financially stupid person is insulting, and it's just not true, and it's not helpful. So until we remove the stigma of credit card debt, financial planners are kind of useless for the vast majority of people. You're kind of not helping. Anyway, that's it. Rant over.
Look it. No, we should not remove the stigma of credit card debt. Credit card debt is bad. All right, it's bad. If you want to destroy wealth, get into debt. Right? Consumer debt is bad debt. It's not making you any money. It's not doing anything for you. And it's not that you're stupid. If you're someone with credit card debt, it doesn't mean that you're stupid. It's just that you have poor financial habits. That's all it is. Like we all get to that point. Like if you try to if you ask people when it comes to their credit card debt, the reason they got there obviously is because they have poor financial habits. But when they made those purchases, it made sense to them, right? Psychological wise, like I know some, like people may not understand it, but psychologically, it made sense to them why they did it. and you may not understand it, but it makes sense to them. And it's because they just don't have the right financial habits. They have poor financial habits, which is why they continue to make those same mistakes. And in order to get out of making those poor financial habits, you have to develop better habits. You have to educate yourself, whether it's reading books, watching videos, putting yourself in a situation where you're learning how to manage your money properly. You have to develop better financial habits. And you have to find that you have to educate yourself in any way you can, because you can do it. We've all been there. I've been irresponsible with money, and eventually I got better with it. And it's because I forced myself to learn it. And I said, you know what? I have to get better when it comes to my finances. I can't continue to make these same financial mistakes. So I took the initiative to say, all right, how do I get better when it comes to my finances? And it took a little board game, cash flow quadrant, the Rich Dad Cash Flow Quadrant, where things started to click for me. And I said, all right, Ralph, it's simple math. Money in, money out. It's very simple. And yeah, we know we should not remove that stigma, because consumer debt is bad, right? It's not good for you. It destroys wealth, and we should always understand that. Constantly tell people that consumer debt is a bad thing, and it's something you should avoid at all costs, unless you know how to manage it. Okay. So those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button and share. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. Right, so you guys take care and have a good one. Later.